What's that I smell? Surely not a normal weekend of the Premier League. I mean, even if the football was relatively normal, one thing that did happen this weekend was this.
Man on! Fuck's sake, oh, for fuck's sake.
Up to fourth, potentially challenging, potentially able to...
You seen that comment Aaron Kelly's put?
What's he put? Aaron Kelly, Dave shouting man on made me do a panic and Cruyff turn in my kitchen.
I mean, best Irish comedian of the year? Whatever way you look at it, lads. It's a dub. If for some reason you don't know who them two lads are, Elliot Hackney and Blue Van Man got me through the Arsenal versus Leicester game on Sunday, so a massive shout out to them two. Definitely happy to avoid having to pay the €15 to actually watch the game, and I would argue, you know, listening to their reactions better than watching the actual game. Welcome back to The Verdict. Now, I wasn't lying in the intro when I said that it was a relatively normal weekend as far as Premier League weekends go. So there is only one game that I am going to hone in on, and you've probably guessed it already. It's going to be the United versus Chelsea game. But before all that, let's do a quick roundup of the rest of the games in the Premier League of match week 6. Leeds kicked off the weekend with a 3-0 win over Aston Villa, destroying their 100% start to the season. Patrick Bamford with all 3 goals at Villa Park. Manchester City were held at the London Stadium. Despite Phil Foden's second half impact, he did get the equaliser after an acrobatic Mikel Antonio effort gave the Hammers the lead. 1-1 is how it finished there. A late Tom Kearney goal couldn't spark a comeback for Fulham at Craven Cottage. It was only consolation after Riedewald and Zaha had given Palace a pretty comfortable lead. 2-1 was how it finished there. Despite another possible dodgy VAR decision, Liverpool got back to winning ways to go joint top with Everton at the top of the table thanks to a 2-1 win over Sheffield United. Roberto Firmino and Diogo Jota with the Liverpool goals after a Sanderberger penalty when McBurney was fouled on the edge of the box by Fabinho had given United the lead, but Liverpool came back to get the win in the end. Speaking of their Merseyside rivals Everton, they fell to a 2-0 defeat to Southampton, who continue to look very, very impressive in the Premier League. James Ward-Prowse with a brilliant finish to give the Saints the lead, and Che Adams getting on the end of a Danny Ings cross to make it 2-0 and inflict Everton's first defeat of the season. Jacob Murphy's free kick rescued a point for Newcastle at Molineux against Wolves after Raul Jimenez had given them the lead there. It finished all square. Onto the game now that I watched along with Elliot and Blue Van Man. It was a 1-0 win for Leicester against Arsenal. Jamie Vardy with the goal. Arsenal did have a goal ruled out in the first half. Still not entirely sure if it was a correct decision to rule out that header. Great finish by Jamie Vardy, another brilliant finish from him, and he is definitely one of the deadliest strikers to ever grace the Premier League. On to last night's game then, and Caroline Grant's late equaliser for West Brom rescued them a point at the Amex after an own goal by Jake Livermore in the first half had given Brighton the lead. And Tottenham got back to winning ways thanks to a 1-0 win over a sturdy looking Burnley defence in the second half thanks to Heung-min Son's goal. Let's move on now to the Chelsea versus Manchester United game at Old Trafford on Saturday evening then, and it was a pretty bad game of football, let's be honest here. I think it's quite evident to see that you're looking at two sides who are incredibly low on confidence. You could see that neither side were really too keen on committing too many forward, particularly early on in the game. But I felt like as time did wear on, it was definitely Manchester United who looked the more likely to get the breakthrough. Edouard Mendy was tested on a couple of occasions, once by Marcus Rashford, who probably should have done better in the one-on-one situation. Juan Mata also tested Mendy, and then a late brilliant effort from Rashford, well plucked out by Mendy once again. Chelsea showed very, very little going forward, and I think this is probably the most disappointing aspect of this game for us. I felt like particularly the front three, Pulisic and in particular Havertz, were very, very poor, giving the ball away, getting shoved off, particularly Havertz, as I said, like getting bullied by Luke Shaw. I saw Timo Werner was very isolated at times. Whenever the ball was thrown up to him up front, he was by himself, didn't have an awful lot of support. Kante and Jorginho did well to break things up in the middle of the park, but just kept giving it back to United again whenever the opportunity came. It is quite telling that our best players on the pitch were probably Mendy, Thiago Silva and Cesar Azpilicueta. That was the one positive we can take. It was another clean sheet. They're second within the week after the 0-0 draw with Sevilla. A very resilient defensive performance, but again, Frank Lampard just needs to get that balance of attack and defence in equal measure. Because I do think that formation is probably the best, where we have the wing backs, James and Chilwell. Chilwell looked not great defensively, particularly in the second half, or even going forward, particularly in the second half. Apart from that, lads, there wasn't an awful lot to say about this game. Nothing really happened. Oh wait! Harry Maguire was too excited for the UFC with Khabib later on that night and decided to show Cesar Azpilicueta what exactly he did to the Greek police officer. Anyway, this is a stonewall penalty. Like, I don't care who you support, where you're from, what your genuine opinion on Chelsea FC is. This is a fucking penalty and a half. I really can't understand why it's not been given and why VAR hasn't even checked it. Like, this is the thing that infuriates me the most. It'd be one thing if they'd like checked it and still somehow thought it wasn't a penalty, but the fact that they said that, you know, they've seen this chokehold from Maguire on Azpilicueta and still thought to themselves,
I'm going to allow that.
Like, genuinely, lads, if you have any other opposing opinions to mine on this matter, please do let me know in the comments, because I'm absolutely baffled that the referee and the video assistant referee couldn't or didn't award Chelsea a penalty on this situation. There was another incident in the first half that I think needs light to be shed onto it, and it was when Bruno Fernandes appears to slap Jorginho. I don't know, I say appears to. He does. He slaps Jorginho in the back of the head. Now, I'm not saying it's a full-blown assault and Bruno should be locked up for life and the key should be thrown away. When you raise your hand at an opponent, or anyone on the pitch for that matter, surely that's a red card. No, like, I'm pretty sure that's actually in the rule book, that once you raise a hand at an opposing player, that's a red card. We actually seen it before the international break when Martial was sent off against Tottenham for raising his hand at Eric Lamela, even though he did it first, Lamela. And this is the little bit of inconsistency that really does irk me with the Premier League. And the fact that this was only kind of shown once, and obviously VAR didn't check it. They didn't even check the fucking Maguire RKO out of nowhere on Azpilicueta. They're hardly going to check a petty little slap by Bruno. Like, Martial was sent off for doing something very, very similar against Tottenham, and he was rightfully sent off, don't get me wrong, but Lamela should have been sent off as well. And the fact that nothing has happened to Bruno in this situation, and no people are not really even mentioning it, is quite baffling to me. Either both of them are red cards or neither of them are. It's one of those, like, surely the referee or the video assistant referee's got to look at that and say, he's raised his hand. Like, I know it's a slap to the back. It's literally, it's that. It's a slap to the back of the head. It's like, Jorginho's not going to have, you know, forever lasting fucking head trauma after this. I just do think there are a lot of inconsistencies there that need to be sorted ASAP. I think, I'm not saying, again, that Bruno has gone out and fully assaulted Jorginho, but by the letter of the law, that is a red card. And if you're going to send Martial off a couple of weeks earlier for doing pretty much the same thing, why not do the same here? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't feel like they're ever going to get fucking VAR right, especially in the Premier League anyway. So that's it, boys. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments section down below, and what you thought about the particular VAR decisions scattered throughout the weekend, and if Bruno Fernandes should be sent off. Because I'm genuinely intrigued to see what other fans, or even Chelsea fans or whatever, think about this decision. Because for me, if you're going to send Martial off, surely Bruno's got to go as well. Do you know what I mean? But I'd also like to ask you all to subscribe if you haven't already. We're aiming for 400 subscribers before the end of 2020. Can we do it? I feel like we can. I feel like we're on 400 or 311 now as I'm recording this morning. You know, that is a very, very, you know, doable number, I feel. So tell your friends, share it round, support the cause. Let's get it done. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe as I said if you are new, and I will catch you later.
But when we